Morning, everybody. Here is going to be 2 knife reviews in a mini rant, tying into my rant a few weeks ago, or I guess last week, about people always just dogging Chinese knives and gotta buy American. So let me explain something to you. I'm going to use a couple examples. So, Case, American made, traditional. It's a $69 knife. This is a 4 1/4 inch closed amber bone peach seed jig large Stockman with the chrome vanadium blade, made up in Bradford, Pennsylvania. Long-standing company. Don't know how long they've been in business because they put the sticker over that. But in any case, everybody knows Case. They're a big collector. You know, lots of people collect the classic knives. And if you remember, I showed my Trapper the other day, which I have been really impressed with. The fit and finish on this, the transitions, the polishing, everything about this is awesome. And that little bit of grittiness, gone. Nice, smooth as butter. A little bit of weight and heft to it. Everything about it, perfect for $63. Great, this is exactly what I was hoping this knife would be. So I said, you know what, it'd be cool to get the Stockman. So I ordered it, and it was like the same price or a couple dollars more, but under $70 shipped from Amazon Prime. Got it, got the card, whatever, product information. I'm gonna blast this knife because I am not happy with this really at all. Let me tell you why. Do you see on here, do you see where the pins are? No, because they're perfectly polished and blended in. And yet you can see that one and you can feel it. These pins were sticking out. Like my finger was catching on it where it was almost like a sharp edge. I had to take a small ball peen hammer and tap those in. But I have a feeling they're going to work themselves out. The transitions back here, you can feel all those edges. They're not polished as well. See that gap right there? And see that I can actually pinch it and kind of close it a bit? That's loose. Let's see. The bone right there. It's going to be hard to pick up on camera, but it's cracked. And you can feel, hear that? Cracked. This is brand new. The transitions here, listen. There's gaps there. This metal is up higher than the bone. No, the transition's awful. There's a nice sharp edge there. Not as much on that side. The other ones are pretty good. This one's pretty bad. Now, the blade looks nice. It's chrome vanadium steel. Spring is kind of weak. I've opened this 4 times, and already we're getting rub marks because the blade next to it is rubbing on it. Now, the blades seem fine. They're sharp. Yeah, that one's rubbing on that one. So that one's going to start to, oh, already is. Already getting scratches and rubbing. This knife has been opened 5 or 6 times, and it's already getting wear on it because the blades are all rubbing. They're not centered properly. When you hold the blade, when you hold the knife, these edges right here are sharp. And they're not even. This is an American-made knife. Now, the other Case knife I have, I found no flaws in it. It's perfect. So, on to my rant. You know, people talk about, oh, Chinese knives and this and that. All of these, we're not going to include the Boker because that's a German $250 knife. It's obviously going to outclass anything here. Although this feels dang near as good as that, but those are better materials and stuff. This knife, I would put on par with anything on the table. I would say this is as good, if not better, than anything on the table, other than the Boker. This knife feels like it looks the part, it's a Case, it's USA made, but when you feel the flex, when you feel, it does, even though it's a 3 blade and it's bigger, it doesn't even weigh as much as this. It feels like cheaper materials. It's got a crack in it. The finishing and the transitions are awful. You can see and feel the pin. So the polish job isn't good. It's probably going to loosen up over time. In fact, that blade already has a good amount of wiggle in it. Brand new out of the box. This feels like a gas station knife, even though it's a $65 US made knife, $2 more than the other one, which feels amazing. So just because something's American made doesn't mean it's not shit. You know, I'm just going to give this knife away. I'm not going to keep this in my collection and give it to one of Donna's grandkids or something. And for them, just to have a pocket knife and beat around, it's fine for them. Me, I'm a little more fancy and I like the finer things. And I can feel, there's a gap there. That corner is sticking out. The bone doesn't go to the edge. You can see the gap, and then you can see that corner sticking up. This feels like a gas station knife. Now the materials, it may be decent steel and all that kind of stuff, and it does seem to have a good edge and all that. But when you feel this and you handle it, and like when I'm doing this, there's a sharp edge. That corner is not rounded. There's an edge right there that digs right, and you notice it, you're like, that does not feel like this knife. These feel like they're from two different companies or two vastly different price points. Like this is the $150 knife and this is the $30 knife. But they're not. This is the more expensive one. And that's the problem. It doesn't matter where something's made. It all comes down to execution and quality control. This should not have been allowed to leave the door. This should have been kicked back and said, no, throw it out, remake it, sell it as a blemish or something. But having that sharp edge like a freaking splinter that at some point probably is, you can see that crack right there. That at some point is probably going to jam into you or come off and break. These pins work themselves loose. I had to tap them back in. If they're coming loose, that means that the slabs are probably going to come off at some point. This knife never should have passed through quality control. Yet I've heard that it's not uncommon that you can buy 5 case knives, all brand new, at the same time, and you'll get 1 or 2 good ones, and you're going to get 2 or 3 bad ones. Meanwhile, all of the Chinese knives I bought, $42 Kubi with D2 steel, $29 petrified fish. It's only 12 CV steel, but it is a scalpel, and it is ball bearings, beautiful liner lock, just a really, with rosewood handles. Civivi riffle, $59 with, I forget what steel it is. I don't know if it's D2 or whatever it is. It's maybe a Sandvik steel. Beautiful action. D2 steel on the steel wheel cut jack. Excellent execution. This madman, wicked blade, $53. Artisan cutlery with G10, machined titanium, ball bearing pivots. The steel is that it's a D2 equivalent. It's a powder steel. It's their proprietary blend. Amazing. G10 titanium machined pocket clip and ball bearings with a blade and a grind like that. $52 or 53, whatever the hell it was. Put a link in the other video. Ontario, Utilitac 2, a Joe Pardue design with AUS 8. Built like a tank, $30. Civivi Elementum, $51. Micarta, I'm sorry, this one might have been $59. Micarta, really nice micarta. Beautiful, every edge is beveled and machined properly. Fit and finish is excellent. Phosphor bronze washers, D2 steel with a hollow grind, wicked blade, $52. All of these knives, actually all of these knives, because the riffle was only like 62. All of these knives, cheaper than this American-made knife. I didn't get lucky in all these. I've owned a lot of Chinese knives, and they're all been like that. Now, again, if I buy from, I know what brands to buy from. Kubi, Artisan, CJRB, Wee, Civivi, now Petrified Fish, Damn Designs. There's a bunch of, and then you got the Riat and the Reichs and the high-end stuff. But as far as the value lines, there are several and growing Chinese brands that are putting out great knives, and I probably had 30 of them over the years, last few years. And they've all been excellent. I haven't had any lemons. I've bought 2 case knives within 2 weeks. One of them's 11. I'm batting 50% here. And I've heard and I've read that this is not an exception. It's a crapshoot when you buy a case knife of whether you're going to get a work of art that's beautifully done and well executed? Or are you going to get the one that they just slapped together and nobody bothered to check this before it went out the door? You got a 50-50 shot in my experience. Which takes us to the next point. Here's a Kershaw. These are $18. They're made in China, and they were designed by an actual designer. Was it Rexford, something Rexford? And it's discontinued, and I really liked them, and I miss it. It's only 8CR 13 MOV. It's not an awesome steel. It's just a basic pocket knife steel, easy to sharpen, but it's not a premium steel by any stretch. But these are $18 a piece. They're discontinued. Supplies are dwindling, so I just bought 2 of them off eBay for less than $40 shipped. One I'm going to unpackage, and that one I'm just going to keep in the box until I need it someday. So let's go ahead and open this and see, comparing what is an $18 Chinese knife compared to a $66 knife from the US. All right, let's get the rest of this stuff out of here. Let's compare. Everybody says, go to buy American. All right. Well, Kershaw, I thought was a American company, but a lot of their blades are from overseas. What you have is really nice, sculpted and machined G10. You have phosphor bronze washers. You got a pocket clip that is tip up only, but it is easily reversible for left and right hand carry. You've got thumb studs. It is a liner lock. And you've got a 3.5-inch blade, flat grind all the way up to the top. Edge feels pretty sharp. It's not bad. Good point. Even the thumb studs themselves are nicely machined. This is a superior knife. This $18 made in China knife has better materials, other than the blade. The blade steel on this might actually be better. But the build quality and the execution and the design, and especially the fit and finish on this $18 Chinese knife, which isn't even broken in yet, tight lockup. This is a beautiful knife. For $18, go buy some. I'll put a link to the eBay, see if there's even any on Amazon. But it's a nice blade centering is pretty damn close. Could probably adjust that with the pivot screw. But this is just going to loosen up as that bronze phosphor washers kind of wear in and smooth out a little bit. But already, you don't have to flick the wrist. Just give it a flick with your thumb. It feels good in the hand. It's a good reverse grip. Your thumb, it just kind of folds right into it. But again, looking at G10, looking at milled liners, looking at reversible pocket clip, all the cool machining and stuff that goes into that. You can see there's like pieces, like that's actually a machine. There's little pieces cut out, kind of grips your thumb, but not too much. $18 from China blows the 67 or whatever it was dollar American-made knife out of the water. This, as well as every other Chinese knife that I had out here, is far superior. Now you can say, well, it's just that one particular knife. You got a lemon. I got that. I got it. But like I said, I bought 2 case knives. One of them's a lemon. I've bought 30 at least Chinese knives, and I've yet to have a lemon. Even this little one here, $29 off Amazon, is a better made, better operating, much better fit and finish than this. And this $18 one, now I don't know what they sold for originally. I think they always were relatively cheap. But this knife is a far superior knife in quality, fit and finish, and overall construction. And I know they're two different. This is traditional, and so design is going to be, subjective. This is a much more modern design. But I'm talking purely fit and finish, how it's put together. Is anything misaligned? Are there sharp edges? Is there anything sticking out? Are there any cracks? What are the transitions like? Is there a gap in between there that you can feel, or is everything perfectly machined and flush? And here it is. I can say that for $18, there's no reason not to buy this knife. Like I said, the steel, it's your typical Kershaw lower end steel. Whatever. It's going to work. You sharpen it. If you're just using it to open boxes and stuff, you might have to sharpen it every other month. Whatever. It'll be easy to sharpen. But I'm not going to carry this. Every time I feel these that sliver that's cut into your thumb, that feels like a sliver. Looking at the blades that on a brand new knife is already gouging against the blade next to it. You can say, well, that's just cosmetic. It doesn't matter. You're right. But the fact that the pins were sticking out and I had to hammer them back in, which means they're going to pop back out again. And then you actually had like 0.5 millimeter of pin sticking out with those sharp edges. And you're like, what is that? And you're like, oh, the pin's coming out, which means then this is lifting off and you're creating a gap. I'm not going to carry this knife. I'm going to give it away to somebody, to a kid or somebody who doesn't care. Not just any kid on the street. I don't just walk around giving kids knives, but, one of my wife's grandkids or, someone like that needs a knife. Here you go, have a free knife. I wasted $66 on an American-made piece of junk that isn't half the knife of any of my Chinese knives. So you can say what you want about Chinese knives and stuff. I've had nothing but good luck with them. Now, again, I'm not buying the gas station knives for $6.99. Yeah, those are shit, and they're going to be shit no matter who you buy it from or where it's made. But anything I bought on Amazon or Blade HQ or Knife Center that come out of China or the local knife shop that carries Civivis, these knives are in a whole nother league than the American-made case knives. If you get a good case knife, great. I love this knife. I've been carrying this lately more than anything, just because it's cool. I'm proud to own that. This is not even making it in my collection. It came in yesterday. I'm reviewing it, and it's going to somebody else. I don't want it. And the fact that that knife isn't half the knife as the $18 Kershaw sold in a blister pack should tell you something. Country of origin has far less to do with the quality of the product than the product itself. Judging a book by its cover because, oh, it's made in China. Oh, it's made in Taiwan. Oh, it's made here. Got to have it in America. American made. Got to, Americans make crap too. There's lazy Americans and people who don't care about their product. It's just a job. They're in there to punch a clock. The quality of their work. If they're in a good mood, it's a good knife, and the guy took a little extra time and made sure it was right. And then, hey, it's Friday. It's getting close to quitting time. I'm supposed to make 100 of these today. Let me just whip this thing out real quick so I can get out of here and go drink beer with my friends. That's clearly a Friday afternoon knife. Country of origin didn't mean crap. So anyway, there's my review of that junk. Again, you may buy one and it may be like this, and it's great. I wish that was my experience. I was looking forward to it, but it looks like if I want a quality Stockman, I'm going to have to look at another. The buck ones are too small. I need one that's at least a 4-inch size, preferably 4 1/4. I need that for the size of my hands. And I might have to spend $130, $140 or something to get a nice one. So if you got recommendations, I'd love to see them. But I'm not going with any more case knives unless I go to the local knife shop and I can play with them and I can go through 17 of them to get a good one. And then if I see a Stockman that I like and the blades aren't rubbing and the fit and finish is good and everything's tight and the way it should be, I don't have pins popping out and crap like that, or a crack in the bone that at some point is going to be a sliver and jam into my thumb and then probably break a piece off. I'll buy more case knives if I can handle them. But after buying 2 of them and only one of them came out good, fifth, no more case knives over the internet. Sorry. Chinese knives, I have no problem. I've bought Elementums for me and for other people. Never had a bad one. They're always quality. They're always finished properly. I don't see any of those mistakes. I mean, that had like 5 or 6 things wrong with it. And you read the forums and you go look up, Case's track record, and they're like, yeah, Baron Sons is the same way. You get a good one, they're great. But you don't know what you're going to get unless you can go in and handle them and go through them and find the one you want. And I'm sorry, that to me is not a good experience. A product should, if you're talking about, you go to Case's website and you read about, American made and American designed and pride and heritage and all this stuff. That sounds great. The marketing person did a great job. But all that marketing hype and all that stuff of them, self-congratulating themselves on their website and talking about their quality and their heritage and this and that, if it doesn't translate into the product itself, and it didn't, then it doesn't mean anything. Being American didn't mean anything. American pride, American craftsmanship, American heritage and legacy, and all the buzzwords that invoke this emotional response of American and pride and all that kind of stuff and nationalism doesn't mean shit if your heart's not in it and you put out a crappy product because you're lazy and your quality control is asleep at the wheel. This never should have left the floor. So there's my review. It sucks. Not even gonna try selling it. Let's give it to someone. But my $18 Kershaw, love it. Great knife. It's cheap. If you lose it, you don't care. I bought a spare. It was only $18. How can you not love that? Seriously. It's a nice design. I think it was Todd or Ted Rexford or something. Well, it probably says it on the damn, yeah, Rexford design. I don't know why they disabled it, why they discontinued it. There's a one, this is the Injection 3.5. There's an Injection 3.0 that's smaller. I mean, that fits my hand like a glove. That is a great knife. No jimping, no finger choil, but it does have that there to act as a little bit of a hand guard, so you can bear down on it. And where that is, it's nice and wide. Your thumb kind of covers the back of the blade, as well as that. So you got a good area to push comfortably because the pressure is being spread not just on the blade, but also on those. So you got a rather generous area to push and choke up. Your finger's up here, so you're not going to slide off of it. Lockup is nice. It's a sweet knife. It's $18 freaking. It's a third of the price of the American-made knife that is a piece of crap. Anyway, there you go. You got comments? Leave them. Also, like the video if you enjoy it. I get a lot of views, but I don't get as many as I should, I think. And if people aren't clicking the like button, then it doesn't overcome the algorithms and then push my videos and suggest them. People are only finding my stuff if you specifically search for this. So help a brother out, man.